Hello, everybody. Welcome to What Do You Want to Talk About, a Fanatics and WWE original production. We, of course, are at WWE's warehouse, which is the epicenter of everything in our entire wrestling history. Today is a really special and unique episode. My guests you might have seen, actually, you might have seen quite a lot. They are often in the front row, in the good seats, and they have an incredible story to share that I have heard firsthand. They've hung out on my bus. They have given me maybe some of the greatest gifts I ever received in terms of the things I actually like and was so excited about to meet them. And they are massive contributors to the Dusty Rhodes Foundation, which my mother very, very much appreciates. Please welcome to What Do You Want to Talk About, Sean and Finn Rhatigan. Is this also the first time I've ever had two? Have we done it? Well, look at that.
Trend-setting, right?
Wow.
Trend-setting, making history. That's what we like to do. I have to say, so the team here does a great job with the podcast, and Craig does a great job. Ben and his team, everybody, they do this great job. You guys, though, today said we're going to help curate the space. These are not warehouse material. Ben probably would like them, but these are yours.
Yeah.
These
Yes.
two ropes. Finn, this one, where did we get this?
That was from Bad Blood in Atlanta.
Okay, so my Bad Blood robe.
Yes.
Okay, I have a good story there. And then Sean, I know, is this 83?
So what we've been told is that's the one he wore to the ring the night he fought superstar Billy Graham in the Garden.
So my gosh,
So it's the...
which Garden? Do you know which one of the three? I think you're right.
I think it was the first one.
Wow.
Yeah. But don't quote me on it.
So the story,
Yeah.
the story in that robe.
Yes.
That is the collectors and those who are out there in the world of title collecting or whatever it may be, they always know about the guy who has. I know the guy who has the yellow Intercontinental title. They always kind of kick back and forth. This seems like an item that is very valuable in a collection in terms of is very unique. And a lot of these guys, and Ben can tell you this, collected things. Or not collected things, they had stuff, but they had others that looked just like it. It's kind of hard to determine which is which, and then footage and photographs are not always great. I'll be prime example. I think Ben has authenticated them, but these boots, I don't even know. They could be. They smell like him, so I think they're the dreams. But that's incredible. I want to tell you a Bad Blood story because I really got tickled when I saw that robe come in here. You guys were at Bad Blood.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you like the entrances, the marching band entrance?
That was great.
Finn, thank you for saying that. Because in the arena, as we felt differently about it, apparently. Because when I came to the back, Brian Fathom, who's very important to me and all of WWE, the director, told me, I'm sorry about that out there. Said what? So apparently, this is my understanding. I hope I'm not giving too much away, but it's a fun moment. I guess the band wasn't really supposed to play long, and the band was supposed to do a prelude, and then we hit Kingdom. But instead, the band did their prelude, and then the band leader, not facing anyone who could give him any type of cue, looked at his band and just went full Kingdom, where they played it in that arena, to us, the coolest thing ever, as loud as possible, where the music is playing, but they're also actually playing Kingdom, and they're moving back and forth. I never knew that it wasn't supposed to go that way. I love it how it is. I thought this is the coolest entrance ever, and it was ridiculous because he had the orchestra and I had the marching band, but Bad Blood, you were a part of history because it's probably the best Atlanta WWE show ever.
I would say so.
What would you say at the end? So, Finn, your take on The Rock comes out at the end.
I was very surprised because I thought it was over. And then he came out and I was just like, there's no way this is happening.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to come to a PLE like Bad Blood.
Yeah.
So I was like blown away that he was there. and then he did like the thing where he counted on his fingers, and that was pretty cool.
Do you know what he meant?
Nope.
Me neither.
Does anyone?
Could be coming for us all, you know? Yeah. Okay, I love, too, that you're already ahead of the majority of my peers in the roster by you don't mind using the term PLE?
Nope.
Solid. I don't either. And it's pro wrestling. After a while, it just becomes second nature. You just move into saying it, and then, you know, there were pay-per-views, but before pay-per-views, they weren't pay-per-views. They're closed circuits. There was, you know, so PLE is the term. I love that. So that, in terms of, I said it when I introduced you guys. You guys are we see you in the front row often. Do you always go? Father, son? Is it always together?
Well, now that I'm at a boarding school
Yeah.
here in Connecticut, it's harder for me to get out of school because
Yeah.
it's a high school now. But so my dad
Yeah.
goes mostly like September. He went to WrestlePalooza alone. He went to Elimination Chamber alone because I was at school. Because like I can't really miss sports games
Yeah.
that much. Because
At least you're not counting.
yeah, but now I go less
Yeah.
with my dad. But it used to, back when I was in 8th grade and 7th grade, we would go a lot together.
I love this. And Sean, you this experience you guys have at shows, I hate to put you on like the hot seat, but coming to these WWE events, you guys have come, how long has it been? Since what year have you been coming to these?
Our first one we actually went to was in 2016. He was a lot younger, but back then they were doing house shows, so it was a lot easier to go to. It was WrestleMania 40 where we really got back into it.
Okay.
We're big Star Wars fans, and they had just closed the Galactic Star Cruiser, and we had been there once or twice and really enjoyed it, and we just were always watching, but we were like, he wanted to go to, was it 38? 39? It was 38.
Hollywood, right? So-
it was
39.
and so he unfortunately had a little bit of a medical issue that was pretty serious at the time. And when he kind of stabilized, I said, "What do you want to do? Whatever you want to do, we're going to go do it."
Yeah.
And he said, "I want to go to WrestleMania 40," and we drove down to Philly and went.
Cold on night one, huh?
It was very cold.
Yeah, cold. A lot of long-haired wrestlers had real dry hair in the wind, and were not understanding what it was cold. I popped for a Galactic Star Cruiser, so I'm obviously a massive Star Wars mark and Star Wars fan. I consider myself, I don't try to be a know-it-all, but I consider myself pretty expert in Matt Cardona, which you have some of his memorabilia here. Where is
I think we have a barbed wire bat.
And you said it was from, when I asked you what it was, like the craziest answer ever. You have a barbed wire bat from Matt Cardona from what?
It was the Major Pod Holiday Show this past December.
Okay. Well, that's a good. They're friends of our pod. We like them. Yes. Glad you have that. But his one thing he has on me is he stayed at the Galactic Star Cruiser.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, I can never really go too hard in on him on what he doesn't know, or Filoni stuff and Clone Wars and this and, you know, the Mortis gods and whatnot. So that's the one thing he has. But anyways, you guys go to WrestleMania 40. This is what I meant by the hot seat is, do you have a favorite memory together as father and son coming to these events? Is there a moment that it was not just another great night at the matches? Is there your peak moment?
I have one. When the Undertaker's bell dongs at 40, that was just, I can still watch that and get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because it was as if the sheriff had arrived to make it a fair fight.
Very interesting.
It wasn't about he was going to give you an advantage. It was, and the way that all wound up playing out, lights go off, he's there.
Yeah.
Lights go off again, and now it's just you and Roman in the ring.
Yeah.
It was cinematic.
You mentioned in the sheriff, and it's very much how I saw it, tipping the scales of the balance.
Yes.
Putting the balance in order. There's people who talk, and I won't say names because it's very obvious who I'm about to. There's people who think somebody else could have been in that spot.
Yes.
I would not have not that I'm saying I had any structuring of it. I'm saying looking at it now from the perspective of hindsight, I would never want it any other way. That is how I wanted it. Exactly how that happened. And that moment with him, which I think I referred to as, I thought it was real magic almost, and in a way it was. So Undertaker, Gong, Finn. What about you?
Honestly, I'd probably say the same thing because when the gong went off and the lights, I was going crazy.
Netflix has a thing that they put out. It's like the greatest 5 minutes in WrestleMania history, and it's John Cena coming down, Rock coming down to do that, and then what we're talking about now, the Undertaker showing up. The funny thing about it is it's my match, and in the greatest 5 minutes in WrestleMania history, I'm basically taking a nap on the canvas while this happened. So I'm like, well, you could have included, I got up at the end. That's amazing. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad WrestleMania 40. I think the pressure's on when you come to a WrestleMania 40, widely considered one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. The pressure's on to continue that. Now I see you guys in the front row, and I'm going to ask you, Finn. There's a lot of questions about some of the people in the front row, and I was very excited when I found out we were going to be talking, because I go, maybe he knows. So you've been by Green Shirt Guy, huh?
Yes, many times.
Okay. Is he in sanitation? Is he in the mob? What do you know about him?
He is 100%. Actually, honestly, I wouldn't know.
Okay. We don't know. I think at this point the speculation on Green Shirt Guy, what he does, I don't know, maybe the fiction might be greater than the truth on it all, but he I don't know if you realize this is Green Shirt Guy, and then is it Trinidad Flag?
Yeah, he was at the Garden last night.
Trinidad Flag, of course, Trinidad Flag. He came to a signing I had in Georgia. There's you. Is there any others that need to be shouted out? Any other real kind of OGs that are front row? Who?
Yeah, so the one I like to talk to the most, he's a great guy. His name's Sammy.
Yeah.
On Instagram, Sammy Universal. He's just a really great guy to talk to. He's always wearing stuff from Kobe, because that was his favorite basketball player.
Okay.
So he's always wearing Kobe shoes, and he's always wearing bright colors. And so he's a really great guy.
You said Sammy Universal?
Yeah.
Okay, now so that's another of the all-star front row crew. Do you guys ever hang out?
I mean, I've obviously been seeing him a lot less because I can't really go to these shows a lot because of school. But
it's not a bad thing, by the way. You brought up school. It's a very so I love what I do. I love this, and I didn't go on to higher education. I didn't go to college, but there are many moments when I wish I did, and especially looking at a life of, man, well, what do I do when I'm done wrestling? If I got into the executive side of this thing, I don't even know properly how to format or spreadsheet and things of that nature. So that's the school will all work out in your favor. It's a good way. But continue. You said, and not so much because you're in school right now, right?
Yeah. So not as much because I'm in school right now. So it's kind of hard to see all the whole front row crew. But when we're in hospitality and other places, we might want to go to the arena together in a car ride. We're always kind of with each other. So it's really nice.
I used to think, because during the house show run, at the end of the night, I'd always be able to talk to the crowd. And sometimes I felt like, am I saying the same thing the guys would say in church? And I was, because I'd be saying hey, if you don't know that person, then say hi to them. If you don't, I was basically saying, say hi to your neighbor, shake their, and I meant it. Because I kind of thought hey, you had this fun night together, right? I don't think they're that crazy. Whoever this is next to you, maybe you'll see him again. The wrestling community becomes a family. It's very special. One of the things I like now more than I think in the 80s and the 70s, it was such a protected industry.
Yeah.
That guys didn't want to reach across as much and say hello. And then in this modern era, it's far more common that we know one another. But then also you go to so many shows. Do you feel is it still magical, or is it harder to impress you?
It is, for me, it is 100% still as magical as the first time I was watching it.
Yeah.
Just seeing people fly off the top ropes, or just watching the stories that you guys tell.
Yeah.
It's the wrestling, not quote unquote being fake. It's not in my mind at all when I'm at these events.
That's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way. It's no different than when you sit in the movie and you.
Yeah.
You know, the first time I think I heard the suspend your disbelief is really the goal of any of this, especially with who knows.
Yeah.
Everyone's journey to get to their seat is different, you know,
Yeah.
and like you're here, you know, and representing the modern part of our fandom. Sean, I feel like I read somewhere in preparing to talk to you that Black Friday. Like how long?
Saturday.
Black Saturday. How
Yes.
Black Saturday? How long have you been watching this?
I started watching in late 1982. I was actually at WrestleMania 2
Which city?
in Nassau Coliseum.
Okay,
widely
great.
considered one of the worst WrestleManias. So I got to bookend it.
What were they thinking? Like, let's do 3 cities?
Yeah,
we
it
wouldn't do that
was-
today.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you watch some of the show on a screen?
Nassau Coliseum was the first 4 matches or first 3, and then you watched the rest of it on. And that was the night they introduced the big blue steel cage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was there with my mom and my brother,
Yeah.
and we had a good time. But yeah, I've been watching since 1982.
Big news, WWE and sports fans, the world's #1 sports fan festival, Fanatics Fest, is making its return to New York City. Fanatics is bringing you closer to the leagues, teams, superstars, and athletes you love across 4 action-packed days in July. Meet your favorite WWE superstars, get your hands on exclusive merch, and interact with the biggest names in sports. Tickets are on sale now, and fans of the podcast can use code CODY10 at checkout for 10% discount. Head to fanaticsfest.com to get your tickets today.
That's a really cool one to hear. I was at WrestleMania 2.
Yes.
Because it's like if you hear, like, I was at WrestleMania 3, okay, I get it. Pontiac Silverdome, you know, the Hogan Andre moment, or if I was at WrestleMania 1, but I was at WrestleMania 2.
Yeah.
Because like today, this crew would be the one who would do it. We would not say, you know what, let's do a show in 3 cities. Let's do it. And we're going to show a screen with 1982 projection technology. We're going to show a screen of the other shows. Could you see what the other stuff?
You could, but it would lose connectivity sometimes, or the worst.
gosh.
There was about 2 or 3 minutes where during the Hogan Bundy match, the announcing was about 30 seconds behind what was happening. And my mom looked at me and goes, "You like this?" And yeah, we love it, Mom.
Yeah, that's a hard one for Mom, you know?
Yeah,
Probably,
yeah.
that's the biggest show, but you only got so many matches. So WrestleMania 2, growing up, did you have a favorite in terms of a series of favorites for you?
Yeah, I was a big Georgia guy. I was a big NWA guy.
Yeah.
I loved Flair. I loved your father.
Yeah.
Tommy Rich was one of my all-time
You
idols.
look more like a Flair guy, you know,
Yeah,
which is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But love Tommy Rich as well. Thought he
Wildfire,
was,
huh?
Yeah.
What do you think people who literally will watch this and nod their head, like, I know Tommy Rich, but not, what do they need to know from your perspective about Tommy Rich?
Every time you watch a Hell in a Cell match, that's a derivative of the last Battle of Atlanta.
Wow.
Versus Buzz Sawyer.
That's a really great way to go with it,
Yes.
too. I was just going to
Yes.
say Babyface Fire, but yes.
And we watched it with him recently. We actually got to sit down and watch the last Battle of Atlanta with him, which was pretty fun.
When you watch the old stuff, there is no wrong answers on this pod. When you watch the old stuff, does it hold up?
I mean, you can tell it's a lot slower
Yeah.
rather than today. They're jumping off the top rope and doing
Yeah.
whatever. But I
Could
mean,
you imagine if you put Javon?
that would
like,
be
yeah,
that would be something.
1980, you know?
But
Oh.
it's still like just watching matches of like Hulk Hogan and
Yeah.
Tommy Rich and all those people. It's like it's really cool. Like they might not be doing all the stuff they're doing now, but it's really cool. Like just seeing what they were doing at that time. So yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Tommy Rich. This is such a random detour, but Busted Open had me. They were really asking me to do this interview for them. It's really important for some anniversary show, so really important, and I love them and respect them. But they were really putting it on about doing it, and I was at the beach or a really rare moment where I was not plugged in, and I ended up saying, I'll do it. I'll just call in. I called in, and they had 15 minutes with me, and Dave LaGreca spent 10 of it talking about Tommy Rich.
He loves Tommy Rich.
And I told him after, I go, this is what you wanted? Man, people are going to be tuning into this. Me going on about Tommy Rich. Like, this is modern wrestling, you know? Like, let's talk about, like, Braun Breaker or Oba or something. What are we talking about? Tommy Rich. But yeah, he was incredible. And you're right. The last Battle of Atlanta, its legacy hangs on.
Yeah.
What do you do, if you don't mind me asking? I feel like I never ask that question because always I sit next to people who are already at like my place of work. What do you do?
I'm in finance. I'm a chief financial officer at a firm.
CFO.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a jacket with CFO sequin on the back?
No, but
You should.
I think
My
I
wife
might
had
be
a
asking for that
CDO
for my
jacket.
birthday.
Yeah,
that's
Bobby Heenan style.
Yeah, Bobby.
Yeah. And I think too, if you have it, it will only help the front row moment. You know, like,
Yeah,
you know,
it'll-
everyone's got their own style, but you got. This is gonna sound mean to green shirt guy who we're not sure is in the mob or not. We're gonna say not for the safety of all this, and if he is, we appreciate him and respect him. And yeah, but I think they'd start to like you guys. This is gonna sound crazy. You guys always look normal. You know what I mean? You look normal. Some of them really stand out in a way that's like, okay, I know. Well, I know him. You know, like in terms of these shows, and you're talking about your history with it. You mentioned the NWA. Where are you from?
I'm from New York. I grew up on Long Island.
Okay, so how were you getting the NWA? Was it magazines, or was it at this point you were getting Superstation?
It was Superstation and magazines. I loved
Okay.
magazines growing up.
Yeah.
That was always take the bike and do they have the new magazines? But yeah, we got Superstation 6:05 on Saturday night. Mom would make homemade pizza and you would
Tell
watch
people why
wrestling.
it was on 605.
That was, if I remember the story correctly, that was Ted Turner time. So he felt like all the other networks played their first commercial 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
And that's when people would change channels.
Yeah.
So if you put a show on at 6:05, you had a chance that when they were changing channels, you were going to
Yeah.
catch them.
I don't know if that's it. I think I've heard that, and I've heard the Braves baseball thing, like something where the
Oh,
Braves,
Braves.
the
Yeah.
games were never consistently timed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but 605, the Superstation. What was your magazine of choice? Was it Pro Wrestling Illustrated? Was it The Wrestler?
It was The Wrestler. I love The Wrestler. They always had the bloody covers.
Yeah, it seems like the Northeast is far more into The Wrestler
Yes.
than Pro Wrestling Illustrated. That's very interesting, and I know we share some similar interests. You Scotch, cigars, one of the last magazines still in the game. I will point out, Cigar Aficionado. I was on the cover recently, so very.
Congratulations, by the way.
Get a yeah. I'm so glad I got a pop out of that. Yeah, no, you guys got me some cigars once before.
Yes, we did.
So this is a secret, and now it's not going to be a secret anymore, but I hate gifts.
Okay.
Hate them because I don't know how to receive them.
Okay.
Like I feel like I'm not being grateful enough, or I'm not appreciative of, or sometimes I get so insecure I'm not worthy. But then also fans give you gifts sometimes that are so nice, but so insanely big. Where am I going to take this? Last year at WWE World, there was a fan who had the full production crew with him. This was a moment. They were in my line to meet me, and they had a poster board, like a giant board. And I can tell this is big, and I'm not going to ruin anyone's party. I'm excited to see what you got, but I can tell they're filming it, so it's a whole thing. We're on, right? We're okay. Right. He turned it around, and God bless, it's a picture of my whole family, completely AI generated, except for my Pomeranian. So Yeti is a real photo, and then surrounded by AI images of my family, and like Liberty's hair is wrong because like they AI generated what her hair look like. And I took it, and it was honestly, the thought is always so important. But we have to do something with this. I have to get this back. Get it in a car. I have to get this somewhere. So we're kind of giving it a hard time, and I brought it to my hotel room, and I showed it to Liberty, and it was a mistake because I said we gotta take this. We gotta, we're gonna get rid of this, and started crying. No, that's my family. So we had to sit it by her bed. And as we can hear on the monitor, she's like, "Good night, Yeti. Good night." Like she's like talking to it. So now I still have this ridiculous thing. But your gifts have always been things like cigars, the great gifts. Are you, is that something, are you still a cigar guy today?
I am. I
Yeah?
am. Yeah, it's the only time I like really relax. I kind of channel everything out and just I'll watch a PLE. Sorry, I keep calling it a pay-per-view.
No,
I know that
PLE.
upsets you.
Yeah. Finn knows.
And just sit on the back deck and just with a nice scotch and enjoy.
I'll tell you a cigar story because you got Cardona's bat in here. I got him into him. And I always start people with a stick called a Java, which is an easy stick to start with. It's cheat because it's flavored. But he was like, I love these. I love these. This is awesome. And he was texting me all the time. And then he sent me a picture of him at his pool, wrong side. He had been just fully smoking. Like he was still clipping and smoking the wrong way. And a month had gone by. So I can't imagine how many people had come over, how many things, but it was a whole moment. Now I think he's got it down. He's got it figured out. But it was a great little teaching moment. I don't get many on him because he's a big bully type. I don't know if you guys know
really?
that.
He's always so nice.
You've seen
to
the
Finn.
pod with him, right?
Yeah.
He's a bully.
He's always so nice to Finn.
He is. He's
Yeah?
very nice to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look at you. You're dressed nice, you know. You got that bat of his, you know. Like, speaking of, the bat came in. These unbelievable robes, the Bad Blood robe, which I now look at and miss because whatever the material Sandra used on it seems like it's holding up.
Yeah.
Seems great. I want it back, but no, it's yours. It's your. You behind us. Did you bring the ding dong mask?
Yes. So that's actually a replica, but we actually have a full ring used bodysuit of theirs, and we actually have the bells that went with it.
So simple follow up.
Yeah.
I'll ask you, Finn. Mm-hmm. Why?
I genuinely don't know.
Okay, very right.
Yes.
What is it about the ding dongs that you like?
They were doing a virtual signing at K&S WrestleFest, which are friends of ours, so friends and I, and they had ring used gear, and they were looking to sell it, and I thought it's just a unique piece of wrestling history because it's not known as the greatest gimmick that anyone has ever done. I mean, just dressing people up with bells, but
let me ask something, Ben. Would you be interested in that ding dong mask?
The full outfit, sure.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you made the right call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben would be honest, and because he gets a lot of stuff that. And you've done the warehouse tour. You've toured around.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Got in a casket. I remember.
Yeah.
We toured with you. It was great.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, that was an amazing time.
Was it what it? I think when I come in here, it lives up to the hype.
Yes.
Like when I come in here, there's something that makes me. If I'm having even a bad day, how can you? There's like Hulkster hats over there, and 24-inch Python. Like, how could you not love this? So it lived up to the hype.
Definitely.
100%. Yes.
Finn, you modern generation, right? So I go on this show called The Breakfast Club yesterday, and the guy called me old, and he was like, "Hey, its main events are all old," and he was using the modern, the social commentary that's happening right now. I was like, "All right, well, we're experienced," but I started thinking, like, "Yeah, I'm the more experienced generation. Yeah, I'm fine with that." In terms of this young crop that's coming up, you seem to know. Do you have one or two that you like?
Like of the
youngins.
Of the youngins?
NXT or new folks, the youngins, yeah.
I think Javon Evans is going to go really far.
Yeah?
Like really, really far.
Not physically. I mean, physically, he's going to go really far.
Physically
He jumps
and just like what he's going to accomplish with his career, I think it's going to like skyrocket in like 4 or 5 years.
Wow, you got this well timed out.
Yeah.
You're extremely well mannered, by the way, and that's
Thank you.
That's a lost art. Well done.
That's the wife.
Where's mom?
That's
Well
the wife.
done. So Javon is one. Do you have any of the ladies? Anybody's like Oba was there? You were in the garden last night. Were you in the garden?
No, sadly not.
Were you in the garden?
I was.
Oh, I got questions about the garden for you.
Okay.
So Javon, give me one other.
Ooh. Obafemi.
Yeah. I tell people he nearly took my ear off, but it was actually the new table. just terrible design. We all agree. Just go back to the old table. But yeah, no. Anyways, yeah.
It's so hard to think about it right now because I feel like, I mean, I guess you could say she's not in NXT right now, but Roxanne Perez.
Yeah.
I think she's going to go really far.
You know how naive I am. It's my running gag with Roxanne Perez is. I went up to her a year ago or whatever it was. I was like, first Rumble? And then she said, no, it's actually my third. And oh, okay. I just hadn't, I honestly had not paid attention where I should have paid attention. So now every time I see her, like I saw her yesterday, I was like, first garden show, huh? She's like, yep. First, I'm like, all right, that's our bit. At least she appreciates it. But Roxanne Perez and Javon, I don't think you can go wrong with those two choices.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Are you ready to hold WWE history in the palm of your hand? Topps is bringing you closer to the action than ever before with WWE Topps Now, highlighting the biggest matches and milestones from WWE shows and PLEs throughout the year. Topps Now is enhancing the fan experience by connecting collectors to the superstars and spectacles that ignite their passion. Featuring stunning event-exclusive photography, each card is made for the moment. And for some lucky collectors, that moment could become the pull of a lifetime. Along with serial-numbered parallels, some Topps Now releases offer a chance at rare short prints, superstar autographs, and even pieces of the mat, gear, or other items used during the featured match. So, which moment will you collect? With each card only available for a limited time, you won't want to wait to begin your Topps Now journey. Be sure to subscribe to WWE Topps Now mailing list on Topps.com and follow Topps on all social media platforms so you never miss a single moment.
What do you like in terms of like subject-wise in school? What do you like?
I really like history. Right.
American history or world history?
I
I was only
always
good
like
at one. Yeah.
ancient history. I really like ancient history.
Oh, okay.
And then like anywhere from 1800s to the 1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
it's usually a sign that you're getting older. Right? I heard
Yeah.
Shane Gillis say that when you start watching history
Yes.
documentaries and next thing you know, you're starting to get a little bit older. But you're a history buff.
yeah, history. I really like history. I've liked history for all throughout school. And then also science. I really like science.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing. So I'm a freshman, and so at my school, you do different science like subjects each term. So first we did physics, then we did chem. Now we're doing biology, and so we're learning about birds right now in our area, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because like it's just cool, like just seeing how living things work.
Yeah.
Because it's just so complex, So it's just really cool seeing how it all works.
So you're learning about birds?
Yeah.
So I got this thing. I set it up, Bird Buddy. I have it in my backyard. I got it for Liberty. It's a video. It's a camera because there's so many birds in my backyard. It's crazy. You see like the bluebirds and the cardinals, and I just think it's the coolest thing ever. You see them all by the pool,
Right.
and I thought, oh, cool. I'll get them to come up to the camera because it snaps a photo right when they come up. I've had one visitor to the Bird Buddy in 1 year, and it's just a squirrel. And the Bird Buddy identifies it as a squirrel. It'll say new species found, and it's a squirrel. So it's I'm not even mad at it because I can at least show her like, hey, look who showed up for 30 minutes today and ate everything until the dog figured out to chase him off. But yeah, I appreciate that's my bird watching days. I have a question for you guys that might border on, I guess, a bit more serious, but and Sean, I'll let you go first here. I love my job. I absolutely love it. I just spoke to Triple H before you guys got here, so I'm just filled with. I could run through a brick wall right now about what I need to do next and what does WWE need to do next. What do you think, as two fans of what we do? What do you think we need to do better as a wrestler, as a performer, what do we need to do better at a Monday Night Raw, at a Friday Night SmackDown? What's something that stands out? What's something that you wish would happen more? And it can be specific or just a general. I know that's a real, but I'm curious. You come to this and see it. You're the dedicated. You're there all the time. What do we need to do better?
Here would be my answer.
Yes.
Okay. And it's not about what you would do on a Monday night or a Friday night, but rather what you would do maybe the other 5 days of the week.
Yeah.
I think having some more house shows so that you're in a few more cities. And I know there's probably business reasons for that, not doing that, but allowing the fans to have a little bit more of that connectivity in the live environment. And house shows are so much fun, I think would really go a long way so that when you are in town for a Raw or a SmackDown, it's also a different level of presentation. It's a different experience. I think you're giving people two experiences.
One of the fears in asking you guys is like, well, they'll say something that's just absolutely the thing we can't do. That's something we can do. It's something that's talked about, and it's, in my opinion, I've gone on too often about it. It's something I would like to see for so many different reasons. But that's a great answer, Finn. What would you say?
Honestly, I was gonna say the same thing that my dad said.
House shows?
Yeah, house shows, or maybe like more dark matches.
Ooh.
Because I feel like it gives
Post or pre?
Ooh, I feel like pre, because it like gets you settled in your seat, and after the show, maybe the kids just want to go home because they're tired, or some people are just tired, so they want to go home. So I feel like the dark matches give some people a chance to like experience bigger crowds.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's good for people who are like new to the business, and also like some people that just want to get there early, get like an extra match they can see.
You need a job here, man. You need a job here. Just a producer brain, because also from the artist brain and the performer, you don't always think about the overall totality of it. And something that I learned is a match is a card, for example, an entire card is a match itself. Something at the beginning of the night should get them excited the same way in the match. The shining up of somebody gets you excited. Something in the middle of the night should take us down the same way heat in a match takes us down. Then we build to this big crescendo. It's actually, a card is a match itself, which God bless. I have a lot of love for independent wrestling and a lot of love for what's out there, because I went out and got it. But one of the things I said I'm not taking that with me is the concept of the dream match shows, because they don't flow the way they look like they're going to flow on paper. No one's willing to concede to be I'm going to be this. And like we got, a lot of young people as part of our crew, even some of our digital team. I love when I get to watch them watch one of their favorite indie guys come into the system. It's a different type of storytelling, and the best can fit. And the others, you see why, like, consumer experience is more important than your self-gratification as a wrestler. That's a hard pill to swallow, and it's really easy for me to say as WWE champion.
Right.
I don't know if I would have said that, but that's a hard pill to swallow. But to your point, people get tired.
Yeah.
People, even the people who make you jump out of your seat. Sometimes you jumped out of your seat and that's all the energy you have, and you sit back down and you're like, all right, well, here we go. Or you have to, you settle in. You know what this is going to be. This is going to be something we can settle in. There's a whole psychology, and it's lost but not. It's lost but found occasionally. And again, like, I don't know if you've been around Michael Hayes or Bruce Pritchard or Triple H, and like they have that same sense. That's why I said you need a job here. But what is it that, I mean, as a father and son, I appreciate it. Father and son stories are my whole game. I mean, it's my whole world. What do you appreciate, Sean, about the industry and getting to experience this with Finn and just speaking to that, what makes you feel good about sports entertainment, pro wrestling, and being with your kiddo?
I mean, I think when you take the actual entertainment part of it and move that to the side, because that's the most exciting part. It's kind of the inspiration you guys provide to someone who's trying to find their way through life. Like, you have the story, but you went through that whole independent run, and you're teaching him, that you have to grind, that you have to go, you have to work hard. I always tell him, if you want to succeed in life, you need patience, drive, and ambition. And drive and ambition are different, because I know a lot of ambitious people with no drive.
Yeah.
And you guys teaching him that drive.
Say that one more time. I love that.
You need patience, drive, and ambition. And everyone always tells me drive and ambition are the same things. They're not. I know a lot of ambitious people who have no drive. They want everything, but they don't want to do anything to get there. And, people like yourself, that's why he's a big fan of Matt Cardona's, because it's like, if you keep going, eventually something good is going to happen. So you're providing that lesson in a way that I could tell him 100 times and he won't listen to me because
Yeah.
that's just the way the father-son relationship works sometimes.
true.
But he sees it with you guys, and it's like, oh, Dad, if I work hard, look at what's going to happen for
Yeah.
me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, and Finn, this is just my. I tell people this, and you say it on the mic sometimes, and I don't. It might feel like it's part of the performance. This is such a fun conversation because the same thing that we do for you is done for us, and sometimes you feel it as a raw nerve. And I'll give you an example. Probably one of the greatest of all time, if not arguably, is Nature Boy Ric Flair.
My fave.
Nature Boy Ric Flair, always crying. We know that. Passion, always. He was a raw nerve. The same energy that the same service he was providing was being provided for him, which is the scary thing about what we do, is how long is it going to last? And that's, we've talked a lot about that today, is preparing for the next step, which again, we've slightly shaded school here left and right, but no, that's the area where I'm like, gosh, that would have been so important for me, because this fun ends and new fun has to begin. But I love what you said about drive and ambition. Finn, going to these shows with your dad, is he your favorite person to go with?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you consider him a good fan?
Yes.
Or is he yelling at people you don't want him yelling at?
He's definitely not doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
he always.
I'm surprised he said he liked going with me. That's a win.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just like I love going with him. He's a great person to go with, especially like because he knows all the history and whatnot.
Yeah, you
so,
get it's cheating almost. That's great. Yeah.
So it's always like middle of the match or right before a match. He'll just say a cool fact or whatever. It's like, oh, I never knew that. Now I
Yeah.
know. Now I do know. It's like just really cool.
I love this. Going with your dad. So I asked, was he a good fan? Because the plumber, my grandfather, he used to go, and not many people knew this, but I just never felt like it was an important part of the tale, but he was a terrible fan. He was trying to reach over the aisle and fight the heels, and all. That's why he went. I have windshield wiper style. I always am kind of looking, but what happens with me is not a fan grabs me or anything dangerous. What happens is sometimes a parent will just put their kid in the bowl.
Right.
Because nobody's going to attack a kid, obviously. Right. So it's like, oh, hello. So I got to put him back, like
We've had people hand us babies as you
Oh,
around.
making the rounds?
Like you literally just hand me their baby.
Yeah. You've dealt with it. You know how to handle a baby.
Yeah.
Last night, I actually on the way to the ring, guy wanted to take a selfie, and I am mid entrance, and I did the moment, but he was like, "Hang on." I'm like, "Bro, I have to go. Like we're live."
Right.
And somebody said I saw on Twitter, like that man was about to drop his child for that selfie because I was like pushing away like this, but I didn't want to. I'm like, we got it, But that's like. Again, the fans are so passionate. I'm a big believer. We talk about it a lot on this pod. And my peers don't always love it, but I don't think there's a wrong way to fan. And
Yes,
yeah. And you hear people talk about, oh, there's people at the airport, and this and that. Man, when there's nobody at the airport, there's a problem.
but
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna say that and then be hot when I get to the airport. But no, but like that's the thing. What do you got? You're hiding something?
well. This is probably a good. We were talking just about.
Are you
history and how-
surprising me on my own show?
Yes.
Yeah, all right,
Since you don't like, you said you felt awkward about gifts.
Terrible at it.
And we're talking about history.
Yeah.
This is something Finn asked that we give you. Okay. And I'm going to show it to you. And there's a program
Can
on
I
the back. But Finn specifically asked if we could give you this. I guess if you wrestled for Paul Bosch, you used to have to sign a little perfunctory contract before the match. And we bought a set of those contracts. Had Bruiser Brody in there, Superstar Billy Graham, and this is one of your fathers. And that's the program from that night.
From the night. So, and this is him.
That's the,
Yeah.
what would they say, the government signature?
So that's I sign it on his Funkos every now and then, and I don't think people know what I'm trying to do. That's my dad's squiggle. That's a V, and that's Paul, right? Is that Paul Bosch?
I believe it is.
Oh my gosh. 1983. Houston.
It looks like they think there was a battle royal.
I mean, he had to enter into a battle royal.
Yes.
Why was Houston so locked up at this point? Gosh, this is incredible. This is gold.
And it's a cheap frame, so you could downsize it and easily fit it.
This one makes it home. Gosh, this is special. My sister would lose her mind over this. This is so, so nice. For those, if you're watching, this is just Department of Labor and Standards entering a battle royal. And this is the card that night?
That's the program.
Oh my gosh. Above and beyond. Man, this is your idea? Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
No problem.
My gosh. This is incredible. Thank you so, so much. Jeez. Houston. I got to tell Bruce Pritchard about this. You know Bruce?
We've met him.
Yeah, so Bruce is going to, he loves Houston. You know, and like Dallas was world class, but Houston was Paul Bosch, and then, you know, talking about Gino moving all over, and this is history. Did you see this, Ben? Oh yeah. Yeah. Holy smokes. Well, forgive me for getting a little choked up here on the deal. I didn't expect that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Man, Virgil. Also, have you noticed? His name is spelled wrong. So the print on Virgil Runles is amazing. What a terrible name, Virgil. Virgil, gosh. What a just awful name. I thought Dustin might get that. That's crazy. He'll go nuts. He'll go nuts for this too. Amazing. Man, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
How can one repay you for such a nice gift?
You're doing it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do this. This is fun.
Yeah.
Right? This is, and again, showed up probably the best dressed for the pod. Gunther showed up looking sharp. Cardona showed up looking sharp. Yeah, I feel like I don't give him enough credit. And then hearing you talk about kind of watching the grind. So, because you mentioned this, Sean, I'll say this. I've kind of learned it just recently, really. If you find yourself in the grind, you'll probably be bitter. You might be angry. You'll definitely be motivated. But I wish if I could do anything differently, I wish I could have not approached it from a place of bitterness or competitiveness with others instead of a competitiveness with me. Because after a minute, all the guys I was trying to outrun, I didn't feel good if I did. It felt more, oh, yeah. It's far more satisfying when, you know, that happens, and it will, right? It's life.
Yeah.
You being the best you, that's the way. You know, you being the best you will take you exactly where you need to go. Oh man, this is incredible. Thank you for this gift. It's certainly got me. In WWE, every road leads to one place, WrestleMania, and every journey starts on the road to gold. Now that journey comes to life with WrestleMania Road to Gold only at Fanatics Casino. The game features 20 WWE superstars, from Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley to Seth Rollins, John Cena, and me. Get your money in the bank or win the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber with bonuses every step of the way. Every reward brings you closer to the biggest stage there is. This is WrestleMania Road to Gold, and it only lives at Fanatics Casino. Must be 21 and over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Not available in all states. See Fanatics Casino app. But you mentioned you were at the Garden last night.
Yes.
What did you like about the Garden show? And what did you like and what didn't you like?
I love a good surprise.
Okay.
So Stephanie coming out.
That was a great surprise.
And was not on the bingo card at all.
Yes.
And then with the way you guys left it, it's
Yeah.
kind of where is this going, which
Yeah.
is always nice. Tune in next week. Which
Slapped
is
me
fun.
pretty hard, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like it hurt, actually.
I'm going to be honest, man.
Yeah.
I felt it in my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to, the jaw's where the nerves are. So,
Yeah. And good play with words with thank you.
yeah,
At
I
the
ain't going to
end.
say,
That was not what everyone in the crowd
no,
was
that's not what they
expecting.
wanted. But I think from a decision-making standpoint, I still have to make the decision to be me,
Yeah.
right? I think there's this whole discussion on like, oh, he's going to turn heel, or when is he going to turn heel? I'm open to it. Gosh. But when that's the plan, that's the plan. Right now, like,
Right.
I get to be me. And me makes the decisions I think are the appropriate decisions. Appropriate sometimes gets you booed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'd rather be that in the end, and maybe that's kind of my segue into the greatest, most appropriate, most virtuous babyface of all, John Cena.
Yes.
And you guys were there at the final match, and I'm on that show.
Yes.
Yeah, the final match. Tell me what you thought. Washington D.C. one more time for John Cena.
It was I have an expression. I call them Jar Jar Binks moments.
Oh my gosh, yeah, okay.
Okay, because when I see that first sequel, I'm not loving it, not loving that character.
Sure.
But then years later, I get to see it through his eyes,
Yes.
and now all of a sudden, a much deeper appreciation.
Yeah.
And I always appreciated John. I would actually do the Cena sucks. Let's go Cena. I do both, and my friends would make fun of me.
Yeah.
But
Well, you're
now,
never wrong in that way.
Yeah.
you're-
But now I got to see it through his eyes. And before the match even started, I could kind of see him getting emotional.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, this is pretty real for him.
Yeah.
And therefore it's pretty real for me. And my honest favorite part of that night was you were at ringside and you're
Yeah.
just after the match and you're just staring at the gear.
Yeah.
And we're staring at you, staring at the gear, and everyone's kind of having this
Yeah.
this moment, and then someone's like, Cody, and I turned and I'm like, just let him have a moment. Just
Yeah.
give him, what were you thinking in that moment?
Oh, well, we're aware of the moment and the cameras and the performance, but then you're kind of the thought, no, it's over. The performance is over. He's left. Elvis has left the building. I just couldn't bring myself to leave right away. And then I found myself sitting there and I couldn't bring myself to leave after a few minutes. And I kind of wanted to check, like, hey, you're not moving anything, are you? And we're not moving until everyone is out of here. Okay, well, then I don't have to go. I can wait. I can wait. And, it's TV. So even when we're not filming, it's Jackie Redmond came and got a word with me, and I was great. Okay, no problem. I think Drew took a social jab at me about being out there lined up for the perfect photo. Even if I was there, and you weren't, Drew in that case. And I just didn't. Seeing it end, which is a beautiful part of our industry that was very hard, I think, for some to digest. Seeing it end is always hard, but that is how it ends in wrestling.
Yes.
There's not many absolutes, but in sports entertainment and pro wrestling, you don't go out winning. And again, there's not many absolutes. We can change it, again, when
Right.
things change. But to me, that's how it's supposed to be done. But it's hard. It's hard, and I just wanted to be there. But it's so funny to think of you guys seeing it and then seeing me seeing it. Finn, did you feel fulfilled, or did you feel? Well, what did you feel like as a fan? John Cena's last match, and that's how it went down.
I guess you could say I was fulfilled because I knew eventually he was going to stop doing it, and this was the year, and I thought it was a really good match. I thought the ending was pretty good, like him tapping out because never give up. He gives up in his final match, but I was going into the weekend, I was kind of sad, and obviously, after the match was done, I was bawling out straight tears. But I don't know, after I got out of the arena, I was like, that was great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the journey, and I think Sean can tell you, and you've learned enough about the game and seen enough of it to know when it's real, it's at its best. And then really the challenge is it's sometimes always real, but it's a very bizarre industry. And I have like the misfortune, but also the fortune of I play me. So it's 9 times out of 10 real, for me. And just to be there at that was special. And I'm glad you got to see it together, to see the end. It's a special event, and obviously John's whole run has also set up for our industry. It's set it up to where if you want to have a final run, maybe you can do something even similar to that.
Yeah.
Hey, this is going to be it. We're going to do 10 cities, and this is it. I think that's a really unique way that it was never done before, and now we're doing it.
It was like a closure. For me, it was a closure moment too, because I had tickets to Flair's last match, and I had to skip it for work.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of a little bitter about that.
Yeah.
And then him and I were up on we were leaving, and I just looked at him and I said, just doing this with you once, I would skip that match 1,000 times to just have spent the last 30 minutes with you.
Yeah.
That's how much it meant to us.
Man, isn't it silly, right? Wrestling's silly if you look at it. Like guys out there wearing our underwear just beating each other up, and the what it really is though is this. It's not silly at all. I'm very grateful to have this conversation, because again, just like the one with Hunter, we're getting ready to do a massive show here, and the idea that, oh hey man, hopefully we can pop you. I'm glad that worked with Stephanie. I'm glad.
Heard the music play and went,
Yeah.
okay, now
It's her town.
now things are heating up. Yeah. And she did great with the house that her grandfather built.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
great promo. And
Where do you put the Garden? Do you have top arenas? Top 2?
I mean, as I do live in New York City, it's got to be by far number 1, and it's not even close.
Okay. We had someone yesterday. Is she in here? Is Kristen around? Kristen gave a lecture about how important the Garden was to us yesterday. So he agrees with you. Garden is the one.
Yeah,
That's it. Well, you were right.
I am right.
You were okay. So Garden is your number 1. What's your number 2?
Number 2, can I say stadiums?
Of course.
Okay, so I would have to put is the Lincoln Center? Is it the one
Lincoln
in Philly?
Financial?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lincoln
the Link.
Financial. I mean, that's just really important to me. First WrestleMania and all that.
Do you know that they treat me like I am the president of the United States when I go there?
No, I did not know that.
I could go to a Falcons game in my hometown, and yeah, there he is, Cody Rhodes from Marietta. Yeah, it wouldn't be much. I could unannounced go to the Link where I buy my own ticket, and I'm happy just to watch the game, and they would find me and make it the greatest day of my life. There's photos of me throwing the ball on the field after the last game, and Joe Biden was at the same game. I came in the locker room. I did a local access interview about how the boys did out there. It was wild, just to the point where my mom, because she told me, she goes, "Well, why do you like the Eagles? Nothing ever good happened. Nothing good ever happened there." And I'm thinking, Michelle, WrestleMania 4, that's where they play. That's a great one. The Link, Garden, great wrestling cities. I'm gonna ask you a different question, and this will be unless Craig has one more. This will be my final question. You have mentioned Star Wars multiple times.
yes.
Do you feel comfortable ranking the canonical movies? You're putting yourself out there for the world to get really upset.
Yeah, no. It's something him and it's one of the few things we debate.
It's a debate, all right.
I'd be willing to do top 3.
I think top 3 is great. We're going to get everybody's top 3. Any other questions besides that, Craig? We're going out on Star Wars top 3s. Mom, you like that? Are you good? Do you need anything else, Mom? You happy? Okay. If you want to throw one in, you're good? Okay. All right. We're going to go top 3. I think, are you older than me?
I am. I actually got to see Star Wars in the theater.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah,
so you were
But thank you for the compliment.
You were taking,
I appreciate it.
You were taking the lead here. You were taking the
I'm
lead.
gonna
We'll go
play
and-
that one back in my
Yep.
head a few times.
Yep.
Empire Strikes Back,
Oh, great.
New Hope, and then Rogue One.
What?
Okay. Those are going to be very popular, those choices,
Yes.
because Empire, okay, good, okay. All right. So 3 is harder than if you just rank them. I feel like now we've
Yeah.
set ourselves. All right, so top 3 is same number 1, Empire Strikes Back, which is the greatest movie of all time. And I feel if you meet others who dispute that, they're confused.
Yes.
So Empire Strikes Back is my number 1. My number 2. Yeah, this is tough. Man, I'm going to blow your mind. Number 1, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
Number 3, the one that people will try to hunt me down. Last Jedi. Yeah.
Ooh.
Last Jedi. And I like it from a wrestling perspective. I've told this story on the show before. Wrestlers, when they come back at 60, aren't 30. Don't make them dye their hair. They don't have to have abs. They're old. Let them have that moment of like, Luke, and I don't think even the actor, I don't think Mark Hamill even liked the representation, but the idea
Right.
that he was a grizzled old man who had one Force moment left, see you around, kid. I stole this for an in-ring promo somewhere else. So those are my 3. And my friend, Finn, this is all on you now. Top 3.
So as we've talked about a lot, I am like the younger generation. So my by far number 1 has to be Revenge of the Sith,
Great.
because I think that the lightsaber duels and the prequels are better than any of the other 3 trilogies.
Those boys trained for that like a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went
Yeah.
for it at the end, yeah.
And then number 2, it holds a special place for me because it was one of the first. Because they did like the reruns for like 50th anniversary or whatnot.
Yeah.
So for me, my number 2 has to be Return of the Jedi,
Great choice.
because the ending's great.
Yeah.
I love the Ewoks.
It's WrestleMania 40, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great choice.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then my number 3, oof.
Yeah, this is a tough game.
Yeah, this is tough.
Yeah.
Either Empire Strikes Back or Phantom Menace.
Okay. I'm going to need you. I am not a
You
hater.
just went wide.
I'm not a hater of anyone, but you did go wide. You got to make a call. There. There isn't a wrong call. It's your choice. I'm just saying you got to make a call.
I think I would have to say Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Because, just, Cloud City and all that, Carbonite, can't go wrong.
Yeah, no, and we're not Phantom Menace haters here. Darth Maul.
Yeah.
They're still milking that cow. That dude got his body cut in half and somehow made his way back. I'm not trying to give you any spoilers, but all Darth Maul stuff is great. Well, thank you guys so much. This was an absolute treat, and these gifts, they will make it home with me. These will stay with me. Thank you very much. I get a great deal out of doing this, as not just the job, but this. And this is the perfect type of conversation to have around any show, because the reason why you do this is you guys. So I really appreciate it. Sean and Finn, thank you so much for coming on What Do You Want to Talk About?